Oh, I wanted you to put the Godzilla theme in.
I'm sorry
Wow.
I ruined your bit with a different bit. It just seemed like it needed music, and you were alluding to there being music there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you to. Yeah.
It was just the wrong song.
We weren't on the same wavelength. We're getting a divorce.
I can do it too!
Hey! Good morning, good afternoon. It's great to see you, wherever it is, whatever time zone that you're in. Thanks for joining us.
Out there in Bunghole Land. Anywho, we just watched Yashahime episode 2.
Wow.
Which I'm going to refer to as episode 1, because episode 1 was episode 0. In all practicality, it should have been called episode 0, because nothing fucking happened. You've seen our previous video by now, I hope. That looked like it was about to fall over.
It wasn't.
Anywho, so, what did you think of episode 2 of Yashahime, aka episode 1 of Yashahime?
I had a really good time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed finally being able to really settle in and get to know two of the three of our girls. We still don't know too much about Setsuna, but this episode did a really good job of endearing you to Toa and endearing you to Moroha. You get a better picture of what their personalities are, kind of what their powers are. I appreciate the fact that you can immediately get a strong vibe of what they're like based on their fighting styles as well. Like Toa, her like fucking hand-to-hand combat, you immediately are like, okay, I get it. I get what her deal is.
Yeah.
Like, she's super cool. She's tough. She has the like gender dichotomy kind of thing going for her.
She is like literally girl Yusuke right now. And I love that. I'm like, Yusuke is my favorite fucking character. So, of course I want girl Yusuke. Let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
And they immediately
badass.
start off by, like, showing her, she's, like, in her underwear and she's hot, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah, she's
like,
hot.
this home
And
gym.
then all of a sudden she's, like, super cool, and you're like, damn. So they gave me, like, she's hot immediately, and then they gave you, she's cool immediately.
But
Because
when
they're like,
they
we gotta
show
give you some
her-
fan service because she dresses like a man, you know? But it's like, you know that underneath, she's hot.
Even when she's, like, in her underwear, though, it's very in character, like, masculine, like, sports bra, neutral tones. Like, it's not like she's wearing fucking strawberry underwear. You know, she's not wearing strawberry panties under her male school uniform. Like,
And she's,
that's very much her
she's
aesthetic.
ripped, you know?
And she's
like,
she
clearly
is
meant to be, like,
ripped.
ripped.
As is
She's badass.
solidified later as she fucking lays out, like, 10 high school dudes.
Yeah. So, she's a delinquent.
I don't know if she's a delinquent. She does go to school.
Well,
she just gets in fights.
She's objectively a delinquent because she gets in fights.
She gets in fights because she stops people from bullying other kids.
Yeah, but, like, she's been thrown out of multiple schools, as we quickly learned, and she's now going to, like, an all-girls school. Like, she is a Japanese delinquent.
Yeah.
You know, whether she has good intentions or not, she is seen as a delinquent, and she doesn't really give a fuck about the authority trying to stop her from doing these things that she's doing. Because she does enjoy fighting and beating the shit out of people, even if she's doing it for the right reasons.
because they're weak.
That's
she doesn't take any joy in kicking their ass because it's not a challenge for her.
Yeah, she thinks of these men as pathetic that she destroys.
She kicks their ass and walks away and goes, they're fucking weak, dude. And I was like, whoa, cool.
But yeah, she's pretty fucking based.
Also, it's really funny that she was raised by Sota.
Yeah. So her backstory is like she and her twin sister are like wolf children living in the woods.
Just wild kids.
Yeah, it seems to be implied, I guess, I'll get back to that later, but they're wolf children living in the woods, and then she gets separated from her sister in a forest fire, and then the jewel in her eye teleports her through time.
It just MacGuffins her into the future.
To the sacred tree at Kagome's house. And then fucking Sota's there, Kagome's little brother, and he's like, it seemed like he was in high school, but it's not really, you don't really know.
It's hard to tell with Sota, because he looks like a high schooler, but he very well could have been like a salaryman.
Yeah, so she is found by him, and he takes her as his daughter.
She's like, this is my child now.
And so she refers to him as Papa Sota, which is fucking weird as shit.
I don't really love that, but
yeah,
whatever.
So it fast forwards to her now being in high school, and sorry.
Wow, very professional. setup we got
She
here.
is in high school, and Sota is her dad, and Sota also has a biological daughter.
Yes.
But
named
it has
May.
not... They haven't shown his wife, if she's still
So
around.
does a single dad. He's very
It's
progressive.
odd, because then it makes me feel like there's like a weird, like, daddy-daughter thing going on with him and fucking... And what's her name?
I think you're reading into it.
It's just going to Papa Sota. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't think it's supposed to be taken that way.
It's fucking... I don't know. I don't like it. But it's an interesting direction they took. I don't like that Sota has now become, like... He's like the guy that Kagome was... Or the guy who was interested in Kagome in the original show.
Yeah.
What was that faggot? What was that guy's name? That
God damn it! I know the milquetoast guy that you're talking about. I can't remember his name. He would bring her
Boy, yeah.
therapeutic sandals and shit because he thought she had all those illnesses that her grandpa made up for her.
But, like, Sota was always kind of a little fuckboy, you know, and he looked up to Inuyasha because Inuyasha was a fuckboy. And so, like, to have him be, like, this milquetoast, boring kind of dad now, it's like...
He matured.
You know, don't love it. Maybe he'll get something to do later. But it is fucking
it.
Sota. Who really cares?
I mean, yeah, ultimately not important.
But it's a neat touch that they decided to take this in a different direction. We're like, so... As of episode 1, we have not even heard mention of Inuyasha and Kagome.
Right.
They're not shown at Kagome's house at all. We have no fucking idea what happened to them yet. Which brings us to Inuyasha's daughter, presumably. They haven't said
Inuyasha
it yet.
and Kagome's
What was her,
daughter.
Moroha?
Moroha is her name.
Yeah, we're introduced to her through fucking Sango's kids. Run it up.
The Demon Slayer clan.
There's Demon Slayer boy who's got Kilala and Hiraiko.
His name is Hisui.
Hisui. And he is running after fucking Inuyasha girl. Because what did she do? Fucked over the village or something?
The villagers were like, we don't like her. And he was like, all right, I'm going to take care of that then.
Like I think they misunderstood her as being a criminal or something.
Yeah.
You know, classic shit.
You know.
Yeah, so...
Classic Inuyasha.
So he's after her, and then fucking Kohaku's after her, and Kohaku is now, like, a Chad badass. I immediately liked Kohaku when they introduced him.
Kohaku goes from being, like, pathetic, little wishy-washy, and now he's, like, a cool dude, and he's got a ponytail and a scar on his nose, and he's got a little Dracula cape. It's neat.
He's got a great design. He looks pretty cool.
His adult design is very cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
And he's the only adult character from the past that we have met so far. And I have a feeling he's going to be the only one that's like a central character, because the other guys aren't in the opening or anything. Yeah. We have no idea where they are.
I agree.
So he's after Inuyasha girl, and then fucking Setsuna shows up, and she's like Sashomaru now, and then the fucking... They've all got jewels, pearls in their eyes, and the centipede thing comes out.
Pearls.
The centipede lady from the first episode of Inuyasha's there, and she's like, "I want the pearls,"
Didn't
and you're like,
you,
"What are the pearls?"
Literally die, bro?
But she came back in a different episode too. This is the third time she's come back and died. Maybe there's just multiple demons like this lady, because there's no explanation of like, oh, it's this lady, she's back. It's just like
it's
she's
Mr.
just there.
Centipede. It's just like she's like, "What's up, bitch?"
They don't refer to her by name or anything.
Yeah.
She's just kind of there. Just very odd.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a big battle, and the centipede lady gets 2 of the jewels out of Setsuna.
She takes Moroha's jewel, and she doesn't have Setsuna's jewel yet, but eventually she does get it.
Yeah, well, she gets it before they teleport, is what I'm saying.
In this scene where the centipede lady shows up, they establish that Moroha is, like, some amount of demon, obviously. Yeah. They don't establish how much, but she starts out using a sword, and the sword ends up not working on the centipede lady, and then she pulls out the bow and arrow, and you learn that she has, like, Kagome's, like, purifying arrow ability as well. So, I mean, obviously it's Inuyasha Kagome's daughter, but I just think it's really neat that it's, like, a half-demon character, but she also has these purifying abilities. It could give you a lot of cool things to do with her character moving forward.
Yeah, and it's cool that she doesn't have Tetsaiga. She has some kind of sword. We don't know if it has any powers. She shoots some kind of thing at some point.
She has, like, a Windscar-esque technique.
So I'm like, I don't know if it came from her sword. They didn't really show her unleash it. They just showed the effect of it. So I'm wondering, because I think it would be cool if, you know, Inuyasha and Sashomaru's swords came from their dad, and it was forged from his fang. So, like, if her sword is forged from Inuyasha's fang or some shit like that, that would be a nice touch. But then Inuyasha would have to be dead. Yeah, I guess No, those swords were made before the dad died, I think. Because they were his swords, I thought. Don't quiz me on that. But I thought he was still alive when the swords were made. He just hadn't given them to them.
It would be kind of unpleasant.
I thought
to
it
live
was
without
implied before that he had
fangs.
both swords. Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
Whatever,
maybe he was dead. I don't fucking know. Who cares? Anywho, it would be neat if she had a special sword that she got from Inuyasha.
Yeah.
We don't even know if Inuyasha is alive. There's
right,
been no.
I mean, we have no idea.
And it seems like the other characters don't know that she's Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter.
That's the interesting thing is that, like, they were all living together in episode 0, and now Moroha is here. She's very obviously Inuyasha and Kagome's daughter, but no one seems to know who she is. Mm-hmm. Like, Kohaku doesn't know who she is. Setsuna doesn't know who she is. Hisui, who would have grown up in, like, the same village, potentially. Like, why does no one know who Moroha is?
Yeah. It's quite odd, and I'm sure we'll get an explanation fairly soon. Even though the next episode preview didn't show anything, so it's debatable.
It could be a little while before we're explained why that happened.
But basically, at the end of the episode, there's a lot of shenanigans with these fucking new pearls, and we don't know what the fuck they are yet. But the centipede lady gets 2 of them, and then the tree speaks, and it's like...
And it's like, fuck you,
I think it's the
bitch.
tree who speaks, and it's like, oh man, there's jewels, bro, I haven't felt this power in so long, and then it teleports all of them to the future, where they happen to be in front of the tree with the other guys are all in front of everyone's there in front of the tree.
Right, because in the future, the delinquents that Toa has been beating up call their big bro, and they decide that the best way to get back at Toa is to kidnap Sota's daughter and her grandparents and just tie them to the sacred tree and then threaten to, like, cut them up.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Why?
It's quite odd, these edgy delinquents.
And of course, Toa kicks their ass firmly before all this happens. And then as you're like, oh, the day is saved, and then these ding-dongs bust through the tree, and you're like, oh, all right, well.
Oh, but the most comical moment in that scene is Toa's, she's beating the shit out of all the bullies, and then the little sister, Sota's daughter, it's like, you have to stop fighting.
It's not ladylike.
Yeah, she's like, it's not ladylike. I know deep down you want to be like a girl and be feminine. And I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Well, you're projecting a little bit, I think.
I mean,
and then she goes on to say, you're supposed to say that you want to be feminine, even if that's not what you really feel.
Yes.
And I'm like...
Well, she meant that in the way of, you're supposed to make me feel better. You know?
Yeah. Because she's like fucking 7, so of course.
Which is like, it worked because it was a child, but it was an odd,
it was like
hammered messaging of just like, and then it seemed like she was kind of low-key like, she's right. Which is an interesting character aspect because she's a high school girl who's over, like, masculine compensating, and it does seem like she's a kind of character that might want to be feminine, but hates the fact that she is expected to be feminine to the point where she overcorrects
like
the other way.
Society expects that of her.
Yeah.
And that it could make her appear weak.
Exactly.
When she knows that that's not who she is.
Even though she might,
even though maybe she does want to dress, even if she would like change the way she dresses or acts, there are consequences for that she is not willing to.
I don't think she's a trans. Is what I'm saying. I think she's just a high school girl who likes being a badass.
I mean, coming from someone who was a high school girl who refused to interact with anything feminine until I went into college, it's very possible.
That's why I brought this up, because I guess it's basically you. I just wanted you to say it and not me.
I refused to interact with anything feminine until I was probably, like, 19 or 20, because it was what society expected of you, first of all, and it made me feel like I would be preyed upon more if I like, showed myself as being more feminine. Which, in a way, is true. If you present yourself as more feminine, you're probably gonna get, like, more people staring at you, more random dudes talking to you when you don't want any attention. Like, it's valid. It's very valid to feel that way. I completely get it.
Yeah. Especially when you're in high school and you haven't figured fucking anything out and you really don't want that attention.
Yeah, you really don't want to be dealing with 30-year-old men doing that shit.
Yeah. So, all that being said, pretty fun episode. It's looking bright for the future of this, in my opinion. I'm sure there will be a bunch of people like, you thought that was good? This is terrible! And I'm like, no, I thought it was pretty fun. I enjoy where this is going. I'm curious to see, like, how they explain all of these backstories for these fucking characters. I definitely think that main girl and her sister are Sashomaru's daughters, and he had them and left them in the woods. I think he had children and went, they will be weak if I raise them, and then left them.
I cannot show them love.
Fucking left them.
And dipped.
So I'm very excited to see where that goes.
I mean, we've already made it very clear that the things we enjoy about this show and the love that we have for it is, it's gonna be really hard for us not to like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's to be expected. But I really think they did do a good job of showing us more of Moroha and more of Toa. I'm hoping we get to see a little more insight into who Setsuna is, and that she's not just the, like, cold Sashomaru-esque type character. But I think we will get there.
Yeah.
And I have to say that the ending is growing on me a little bit. I'm vibing.
You know,
I'm vibing with it. It's nice.
But,
it's no Fukai Mori or anything, but it's there.
As of episode 1, it felt like, oh, alright, they're making another anime original movie, kind of like, oh, whatever. And then episode 2 was, it was like, okay, this is its own show, it's got its own ideas, it's clearly has an idea of where it's going with its plot, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's not just a 12-episode thing, you know?
I mean,
but,
this is definitely one of those things that I could see going for 60 episodes if it does well and they decide that it deserves, you know, for whatever reason, deserves that kind of runtime. It's a shonen, you know?
Yeah. Anywho, don't want it to get too long talking about the second episode.
We're some long-winded motherfuckers.
We can fucking be. Bye!
Wow!